Floyd's brother came to Minnesota to pay respects at the place where George died.
Yesterday was the first time that we saw Terrence Floyd here in Minneapolis, right at the spot where his brother lost his life. Terrence's speech was preceded by a prayer circle around the intersection, and hundreds kneeled for Terrence once he arrived to show the support. The crowd also chanted, "George Floyd." Terrence talked about peace, asking people to protest, but to stop destroying their communities. He asked people to get out and vote, educate themselves, and demand justice peacefully.
Please. My brother moved here from Houston, and I used to talk to him on the phone. He loved it here. He started driving truck. He was good. So I highly doubt. No, I don't know. I know he would not want y'all to be doing this.
Joining us now to talk more about moving forward is psychotherapist and Mid-Morning contributor Dr. Corey Yeager. Dr. Yeager, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Good morning. How are you?
You know, we're okay. You know, this is a chaotic time. This is a painful time, one of the most painful times that I can think we can remember in recent history. And you'd say, though, that this adversity can actually breed some sort of opportunity for healing?
Yeah, I think that that's the case. But let me start by saying I'm going to pay homage and send condolences to George Floyd, the family of George Floyd. Stephen Jackson is part of our NBA family. Just want to make sure that to begin, give condolences to those folks. But if we think about 2020, we went from Kobe Bryant to COVID to George Floyd. And in the last 30 days, if we think about it, the black community has watched a black man be murdered for jogging, a black woman be murdered while she was sleeping, and then we watched the senseless murder of George Floyd. So the community has been for many years fed up and is even more intensely fed up. So one of the things that I think is important, desperation is at hand. I think for quite some time, Heather, desperation has been at hand for the black community, but we've managed it. This moment seems quite different. So one of the things I think that we're struggling and striving for, that this entire country must face, is the process of truth and reconciliation. That we cannot reconcile without truth. In a relationship, if there is dismay, that there must first be truth before that can be reconciled.
What do you mean by truth, Corey? What sort of truth are we looking for here?
So the truth of where we are and what the journey for this country has been with black folks. That we often will shirk the conversation, Jason. We'll hold it briefly and say, yeah, but see, that wasn't my ancestors might have done something, but I didn't, and my mom and dad didn't. But the problem in that issue there, Jason, is that the black community becomes left to hold the bag of issues. And we're told, hey, well, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But oftentimes the system is set it up where we may not have boots, much less straps on the boots. So if we cannot move through truth and reconciliation, if we look at South Africa had a truth and reconciliation process following apartheid. That if you go to South Africa, they're going to discuss that deep, dark process in their past. We haven't done that in this country.
People want to stop with looking at their own individual racism without looking at systemic racism, which is a much bigger issue, maybe.
Say that, Jason. Say that time and time again. Turn to your community, Jason, and say that. That the issue of white fragility and white guilt is not our issue. That white communities must turn to their communities and talk about this within one another. And we keep talking about being hopeful. Hope is not a strategy. Hope is not a strategy. It is a beautiful thing, but it's not a strategy. So how will we strategize together and recognize that this trauma is here? We can no longer turn to people for moral direction when we know that their moral compass is broken. How can I turn you to anyone for direction if I know that the moral compass that they hold is broken? That is a struggle, so we can't do that. And the dissonance that is created in our minds, I want things to be better, but I see things aren't. we've got to battle with that time and time again. So we hear people today being vocal about the looting, but silent about the murder of George Floyd.
Yeah.
Right? So we'll talk about the looting and the rioting or the insurgents or the uprising, but we won't talk about the murder of the man that sparked this situation.
Yeah.
So we've got so much work. So to your point, Heather, let me move back. That adversity is an opportunity for growth. It is an opportunity. Now, opportunities are just that they may be present. We may not take advantage of them. So we have opportunity through this adversity to come together. The question that remains is, will we take advantage of that opportunity? It is in front of us. Will we take advantage of it? Still is yet to be seen. We as a community have not found the opportunity yet to rest. So we are battling with no rest. We've continued to battle and have no rest. So we don't even know where to turn right now to seek rest. And we're struggling to battle. So, I mean, there's a ton of pieces there, but I think that would be, for me, a theme of what we are in need of.
And part of it is just about understanding the depths of desperation right now that we're seeing, Corey.
Yes, I mean, and I think that is a critical piece. And understanding may not always be easy. We don't seek agreement. Let me be clear. I cannot speak for the entire African American community. I can speak only for myself. But we don't necessarily seek agreement. We seek understanding. Because let us be clear, that the Black community must, if we're going to survive and make it in this world, in this country, we must understand the white community. That's the only way we're going to survive. But the difference, if you flip that, is not true. So knowing that understanding is something that we're seeking, but it is quite elusive. It has been quite elusive. So I said today, Heather, you asked me how I'm doing. I said, well, Heather, I'm breathing. And in this day and age, it seems like for a Black man, that's an accomplishment. That is quite sad. That is sad. And if sadness is in our minds, it may come out as anger. If disappointment is in one's mind, it may come out sideways as anger. So let us not confuse the fact that the anger that is presented is the primary emotion. The primary emotion is disappointment and sadness that we have had in our community for hundreds of years.
Corey Yeager.
Thank you.
Really great. Thank you, Corey. Appreciate it. It's a lot of work to be done. Don't rush so fast to try to find the healing and the solving of these things, and you got to live a little bit with the fact that the system is messed up and has been for a long time.
So little time, so much work, and so little time.
Let's keep talking about it, Corey.
Lots of work to do.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you.
Thank you.